vDirector instructions. CMIT 105, like most of our CMIT courses throughout our curriculum, is technical, which means that throughout the semester we'll be doing practical lab exercises in a real environment. Well, this real environment is actually a virtual environment hosted on servers within the CSEC, the Computer Science and Engineering Center at the South Portland campus. It's right there. So what does that mean for us? How does a student sitting at home, Starbucks, or even a classroom within the CSEC access this environment? Well, we do it through a web-based GUI that we're going to talk about called vDirector. And it acts as a kiosk that gives you access to your virtual machines, your virtual lab computers, where you'll be completing your lab exercises. If you're taking these classes or doing the labs on campus, then all you have to do is log into vDirector and go. Right? It's on the local network. Everything's been configured for our physical lab computers in the classrooms. And other than putting in your username and password, there's very little to do. However, if you're doing this from home, which, considering this is an online class, I suspect you probably are, then there's a little more configuring to do. And we're going to talk about that. Now, I mentioned earlier, we have to be on the CSEC network. If you're sitting in a classroom, you're already in the network. If you're doing it from anywhere else, then you have to connect first to the network via VPN, the virtual private network. If you haven't yet done it already, there is a separate video under week 1 content that discusses how to set up the VPN client. Stop here, go review that video, and get your VPN tunnel configured and connected before proceeding on. Now, regardless of what method you use to connect, physical or via VPN, from that point forward, everything remains the same. Well, vDirector is a web-based GUI, which means you go at it through a web browser. You have a choice. You can use any browser you want as long as it's Firefox or Chrome. I know. Right now, that's the only 2 browsers that are supported by vDirector. Internet Explorer, Microsoft Edge under Windows 10, they simply will not work. You must use Google Chrome or Firefox in order to access it. The URL for vDirector is this, right? Notice the HTTPS. This means that it's secured. It's going through secure socket layers. You're going to see a little green padlock. We'll talk about that. The actual address, vdirector.smcc-cec.org. Notice, like under the VPN, this is not the campus network. This is the CSEC's network. The rest of it is /cloud/org. And then the last part of the URL is your instructor's name. Every instructor has their own virtual lab environment. So if you're taking one through John Doe, it'd be this URL with JDoe at the end of it. For this class, it's going to be my virtual classroom. So G Hussey, make certain you put the instructor's name at the end. Number 1 leading cause of failed logins is people forgetting to put in the instructor's name. Once you thump that into your address bar of your favorite web browser, Chrome or Firefox, you should see this, the vDirector login screen. Again, this is not available on the wild internet. This is internal, right? VPN or within the CSEC itself. You need to put in your username and password. Now, this is your CSEC username and password, not your SMCC username and password. Your username will be first name dot last name. In my case, Glenn.Hussey. And then your password. Hit login, and assuming everything is squared away, it'll give me a logged out session. Let's log back in again. And here we go. Now, when you first log in for the first time, it'll dump you on a screen called Home, right? That's not the screen you want to be at. It's not very user-friendly. The first thing you're going to want to do is click on My Cloud right here. It'll bring you to this screen, and then you're going to want to click on this tab right here, VMs. That stands for Virtual Machines. Now, since I'm the instructor, I see all virtual machines from all students in all classes. In your case, you're going to see the virtual machines that are specific to you for the classes you signed up for. Right? Most of our CMIT classes have a presence here in vDirector. So if you signed up for CMIT 120, 225, whatever, you're going to see those machines. You'll also see the machine for this class. Now notice right here, CMIT 105 D1, this is our section. To the left right here, we have this column called Console. This is actually the console of this virtual computer. Right? We're going to see that this screen updates live. It's right there. And all I have to do, really, is click on it. And notice the first thing it tells me. It says, hey, this computer is turned off. How can you get on the desktop if you haven't turned it on yet? These VMs act just like real physical computers. Turning it on is easy. And your machines will be turned off by default. Right-click on the VM. And there's a menu option here for power on. We see that it's powering up. We'll give that a second. Wait for it. There we go. Now we're getting a blue boot screen, and you can actually see there in tiny little text is a Windows boot screen. You're going to have a Windows desktop appear on there, or at least a Windows login screen. Great, but it would help if it's a little bit bigger, wouldn't it? Well, we can easily do that. Now, if you click on that little screen, on that console, it'll cause the console to pop out, just like this. And you can see here we're looking at a Windows 7 desktop. Everybody on the virtual machines has a student account. Now, student is administrator on these VMs, right? You're the administrator. You're root. You can do whatever you can on these VMs. The password to log into it is the password, and I'll show you that in a second. And there we go. Looking at our Windows desktop inside of our VM. Oh, look at that. It's the first time it powered up. You'll want to pick what network it's on. Because this thing is on the network. You have internet access from your virtual machine. And there we go. Now, your password. Let's talk about that for a minute. All the machines are set to the same default password, done deliberately. And we use what we call the password. Now, this isn't a real world password. Don't set your real machines to this in the real world. We just do this for simplicity's sake. That is the password to your student account on your virtual machine. Right there. Capital P @SSW0RD. I strongly encourage you not to change your password. If you're doing a lab and you have a question, you might shoot me an email. Hey, I'm having trouble figuring this out. This isn't working properly. What's going on? Well, I can access your virtual machine. I can log right into it from wherever I am. But if I don't have the password, I can't get into it. So best practice, leave the password set. Yes, it's not secure, but this is an academic lab situation. So let's take a look at something else here. That's what I just showed you is really all there is. That's how you get into your virtual machine. From that point, you can click on your desktop, do your thing, whatever. Now, things don't always go that smoothly, right? Part of the reason it did go that smoothly is because I've had this set up on this computer before. If this is the first time doing accessing vDirector, you're going to have to configure a couple of plugins. And these are browser plugins. And you'll be prompted to install those plugins the very first time you log in and connect. You definitely want to go ahead and install them. Now you might click on your console here, have it pop up, and tell it won't connect anything. It might say I can't access the console. It might not do anything at all. Well, that's a common problem, and it's usually a plugin problem. If you look in the upper left-hand corner here of the URL bar, see that looks like a little red Lego with a slash through it. Yeah, that can't be good. If you click on it, you're going to see the two plugins that were installed, right? The VMware Client Support and the VMware Remote Console plugins. These might be set to block, right? Or just allow now, or whatever. If the console doesn't work, you're going to want to go in and set them both to allow and remember. At that point, your consoles should work properly. It's critical that we get this virtual lab environment set up and working this week, because we're going to be starting labs very shortly. If you have any issues with this whatsoever, please shoot me an email, and I will forward those to our lab director, and he'll be able to determine and resolve whatever your problems are. Again, any questions, let me know.